Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Last weekend I got to go up to Freedom Folding Bikes in Boulder, Colorado, and I got to look at my first ever carbon fiber Brompton Clone. It was an interesting experience to say the least. And I'm left with this nagging question in my brain. Are these Brompton clones going to be as good as the Brompton itself? That's a question that we all need to ask ourselves. The bike I went up to Freedom Folding Bikes to look at is called a Chedech. That bicycle is a Korean designed, fully carbon fiber Brompton clone. It folds up very similar to the Brompton. It looks very similar to the Brompton. Does it perform similarly to the Brompton? Is it going to last similarly to the Brompton? We don't know this stuff yet. Here I am up at Freedom Folding Bikes and Chuck is explaining how to fold the bicycle. The process looks all too familiar.
There's a connection here and you just sort of kick it down.
Looks just like the Brompton.
Yeah.
So it's just a snap connection?
Yep, so it's a snap rather than a clip. And you just kick it there.
And it has a stand instead of the rollers.
Yep, so it's a built-in carbon fiber fender slash stand. Then the latches here, there's a, push that up, open, and then open that. And then it's the same fold as the Brompton there. You can see the hook goes on like that. Same thing here. You push this out, open, open, drop that. Pedal fold sort of the same way, like that. This is a bad design. This seat post clamp is really hard to do. But
that, and if you get it too tight, it could break the carbon fiber, couldn't it?
Yep.
So you got to make sure it's dead on.
But then you feel that, I mean, it's
Whoa.
a pound lighter than a 2-speed titanium Brompton.
2-speed titanium?
Yep.
A pound lighter, huh?
Yep.
It sure did clone the Brompton. It's called the Chedech.
So in this next clip, I'm kind of anxious to get out and test ride this bike, okay? I really want to see how it handles. I really want to see how it accelerates. I want to see, just the overall feel of the bike because it is a very interesting looking bike and it is super light. I mean, when I was picking that thing up, it did not weigh hardly anything. So in this next clip, I'm out test riding this bicycle and kind of giving my overall thoughts and opinions on this bike.
There is a noticeable amount of driveline noise, or at least planetary gear hub noise. I could hear that. It does feel a lot lighter than a Brompton does, that's for sure. Has the 18-inch wheels on it instead of the 16. Not as big as the 20, not as small as the Brompton wheels. So I'm gonna see what the handling is like on this thing. You could already notice a difference from a dead stop, how much faster you accelerate. There is some torsional flex in the frame, but that might be normal. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, you could definitely feel the flex in the frame. That might be a good thing. I mean, it definitely feels more comfortable to ride. The seat itself feels a lot more comfortable. Like I said, you could definitely feel the difference going up a hill. There is this kind of like torquiness to it, much more than the Brompton because of the flexibility of the whole bicycle. You can feel the flex in the frame. I'm not going to take it on too long of a ride because I don't have a lot of time. From what I gathered just from riding it, it definitely feels more responsive up hills, definitely. It definitely has more gear range. It seems to be much more comfortable in a lot of respects. The only thing is, it definitely does feel like a bowl of Jello, like you're riding, you know, a bowl of Jello. You definitely feel between the steering wheel and the seat, you definitely feel a lot of flex. So I imagine you would lose a little bit of energy with the flexibility of this bicycle. And that's another thing, when you're coming on hard turns, you definitely feel the flexibility in the bike when you're coming on a hard turn. So it's definitely something to get used to. I would be very skeptical about whether this bike would actually last, you know, a long time or not. I just don't know, and that's the whole thing. Not knowing is one of those things where you're like, should I buy it? I don't know if it's gonna last. That's the problem with bikes you just don't know anything about. So some things I like about the bike: I like how light it is. I like that you can carry it really easy. I like the fact that it's got 5-speed internal hub system. I like the fact that it does seem really responsive when it comes to acceleration. Things I don't like about it, I don't like about this stand. I'd rather have the wheels like Brompton. That way you get a secondary function from this whole rack system. This is just kind of pointless. It's more like a stand, and that's all you can use it for. The brakes are okay. I don't like this clamp system on the carbon fiber. I think that they could design something a little bit better for that. I'd be afraid of breaking that. I do like the fact that you can just push that and click that open, and you don't have to reach down and grab a leather. I do like that about this bike. I don't like the fact that there's no luggage block, but I wouldn't expect there to be a luggage block since it is carbon fiber. You wouldn't want to put a lot of weight up there. All in all, I think for the most part, I think the 18-inch wheels are kind of a good compromise between 20-inch, you know, for being a small fold size. You would definitely want something 18, maybe 16 inches like the Brompton, but it is still kind of twitchy like the Brompton. And then when you figure that the frame has a lot of flex in it, which I don't like the frame flex, that and the twitchiness on top of that kind of amplifies the effect. So you definitely get that squirrely feeling. So that's something I don't like. But all in all, it's a decent bike. I just don't know if I would buy one because I don't know if it would last. And I don't want to spend a ton of money on a bike that is not going to last. I think it's kind of neat. It's a neat idea. If I had a lot of disposable extra income, I'd definitely buy one and put it through its paces. But ultimately, that would be the only way I could really test and find out if the bike is actually going to hold up over a period of time.
So ultimately, guys, I really like the bike. I like the concept of that bike. It really is pretty neat. It's an extremely light bike. Who is that bike for, though? I mean, in its current iteration, who is that bike for? If you're a person that rides maybe 2 miles from your apartment to your tube station, and then from your tube station you go maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles to your office, then maybe that bike will work great for you. Because if you're not putting a lot of miles on it, then I don't think durability is going to be that much of an issue. The bike is super light, so it'd be great for taking on the train, and I think it would work really well in that situation. The only way to know if you're going to be able to ride that bike long distances, do any kind of touring with it, beat it up. Like I've beat up my Brompton, man. My Brompton takes a beating every single day, especially on the roads here in Denver. But if that bike is going to be able to take a beating, the only way we're going to be able to tell that is to put it through its paces. Is it going to be a bike that I'm going to be able to have 2 or 3 years down the road after 2 or 3 years of riding? You know, I don't know. And I don't think anybody's going to know that unless you buy one and actually ride it. I ride it a lot. So ultimately, I like the concept. I like the idea. It is a super comfortable bike. There are some drawbacks to the bike. When it comes to comfortability, you're going to sacrifice a little bit of your responsiveness. So, you know, Chuck and his wife, I think he said that both of them prefer that bike as far as it being really super comfortable. So if comfortability is a big issue for you, I would definitely consider a bike like that. I think it is way more expensive than the Brompton is, so being able to last is definitely something I would like to know before I'd ever purchase a bike like that. I wouldn't want to buy it and then 2 or 3 months later it just break down. And then whether you're going to get parts or not. See, the Brompton itself is a bike that if something happens to a part of it, let's say I damage the frame, I can fix that piece of the frame. I can order a part, replace the damaged part on my bike, and my bike is up and running again. Are they going to have that kind of customer service? Are you going to be able to get parts for that bike? You know, and that's what I love about the Brompton, is that every part on that bicycle is replaceable. I love the fact that I can get the part when I need it. I don't know if you're going to be able to do that with the Chedech or not. Only time will tell. So ultimately, I had a great time riding the bike. I thought it was really cool. I want to thank Chuck at Freedom Folding Bikes for letting me test ride the bike and taking time out of his day to show me the ins and outs of the bicycle. I really do appreciate that. And I strongly recommend you guys go check out their website. They got a lot of cool gadgets, a lot of cool parts, lots of cool bikes, all kinds of stuff on that website. So if you want to, go check that out. If you guys have any comments or questions or any experience with other types of Brompton clones out there, leave that down in the description below. I'll be glad to read through those. Slap a like on the video if you like it, and I will talk with you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.